High Counselor Sungmin stood at the massive viewing window of the council's main chamber. The purple and blue gases of the spiral nebula stretched out before him. He had ruled the Galactic Council for over 200 years, and in all that time, nothing had ever challenged their power. The council chamber itself showed their might. The walls were made of rare metals from 1,000 worlds. The ceiling reached up hundreds of meters, covered in floating lights that looked like stars. Around the huge round table, empty seats waited for the other council members to arrive. Sungmin touched the smooth surface of his datapad. The latest reports from their exploration ships filled the screen. Another new solar system had been found. It was a small one, with 8 planets circling a yellow star. The third planet showed signs of life. High Counselor, a voice called from behind him. The others are ready for the meeting. Sungmin turned to see his assistant, Bina, standing near the chamber doors. She was holding her own datapad, her long silver robes touching the polished floor. "Let them enter," he said. The massive doors slid open without a sound. 7 other council members walked in, each wearing the traditional silver robes of their position. They took their seats around the table as Sungmin walked to his chair at the head. "Today we discuss the findings in System 4789. Sungmin began. "Our ships have found intelligent life on the third planet. They call themselves humans." Admiral Yunho leaned forward. His military uniform stood out among the silver robes. "What level of technology do they possess?" Sungmin pressed a button, and a hologram appeared above the table. It showed images of Earth, their cities, vehicles, and early space stations. "They are in the early stages of space travel," he explained. "They have reached their moon and sent basic probes to nearby planets. They have also split the atom and developed basic computer systems." "Primitive," said Council Member Duhi with a small laugh. "Like all the others we have found." But Chief Scientist Jinwoo was not laughing. He studied the images with careful eyes. "There is something different here," he said slowly. "Look at their progress timeline." A hologram changed to show Earth's history. Jinwoo pointed at the dates. 200 years ago, they were using steam power. Now they have computers and spaceships. This rate of progress is unusual. A silence fell over the room. The council members looked at the timeline with new interest. "Even so," Admiral Yunho said, breaking the silence, "they are no match for us. We should begin the standard contact process." Sungmin nodded slowly. The standard process had worked for thousands of years. They would show their power, demand obedience, and add Earth to their empire. Simple and effective. "I will send Commander Jai-1 for first contact," Sungmin decided. Her team has handled many first contacts before. As the council members discussed the details, none of them noticed Chief Scientist Jinwoo's worried face. He kept looking at Earth's timeline, at the speed of human progress. In all his years of studying alien civilizations, he had never seen anything like it. The meeting ended, and the council members left. Sungmin returned to his window, looking out at the nebula. Soon, Earth would join their empire, just like hundreds of planets before it. Everything would proceed as it always had. But for the first time in his long rule, High Counselor Sungmin felt a strange feeling in his chest. If he had been human, he might have recognized it as worry. In the dark space above Earth, unknown to its people, Commander Jai-1's ship prepared to drop out of faster-than-light travel. The first contact with humanity was about to begin, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. Commander Jai-1's ship, the Stellar Messenger, appeared in Earth's orbit with perfect precision. She stood on the bridge, watching the blue planet turn slowly below them. Their cloaking systems kept them hidden from Earth's primitive radar systems. "Begin the standard scans," she ordered her crew. The ship's sensors started collecting detailed data about Earth's technology, military capabilities, and social structures. Dr. Hayan, the ship's lead scientist, worked at her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel as data streamed across her screens. Suddenly, she stopped moving. She checked the readings again, then a third time. "Commander, She called out, her voice slightly shaky. "You need to see this." Jai-1 walked to Haiyan's station. The screen showed a comparison between Earth's technology from 10 years ago and now. The progress was remarkable. Humans had improved their computers, medicine, and space technology faster than any species they had ever encountered. "How is this possible?" Jai-1 asked quietly. "There's more," Haiyan said. She showed another screen. "They have developed technologies we've never seen before. Their approach to solving problems is different, creative, unpredictable." Jai-1 frowned. This was not following the standard pattern. Usually, primitive species developed in predictable ways. But humans seemed to jump forward in unexpected directions. She decided to watch them more closely. The ship's camera zoomed in on various places on Earth. They saw humans building new cities, launching satellites, and working on technology that even the Council hadn't thought of. In a laboratory in what they called South Korea, scientists were developing new ways to store energy. In another place called India, they were creating advanced artificial intelligence. In America, they were planning missions to Mars. "Commander," her communications officer called out, "I'm picking up thousands of signals. They're communicating constantly, sharing information across their entire planet through something they call the Internet." Jai-1 watched the data flow. Most species at this stage of development stayed isolated in different regions, but humans were connected, sharing ideas and knowledge instantly across their world. She needed to report this to the Council. Ji-1 went to her private chamber and activated the long-range communicator. High Counselor Sung Min's image appeared before her. "Report, Commander," he said. "High Counselor, the humans are different." Jai-1 began. She explained what they had found: the rapid progress, the unusual technologies, the global connection of minds and ideas. Sung Min's face showed no emotion, but his voice was tight when he spoke. "Continue observation. Do not make contact yet. We need to understand them better." After the communication ended, Jai-1 returned to the bridge. Dr. Haiyan was waiting with new data. "Commander, we've detected their military capabilities," Haiyan said. "They've had thousands of wars among themselves. Each time, their weapons and strategies evolved. They learn and adapt faster than any species we've studied." Jai-1 looked down at Earth again. From space, it looked peaceful, beautiful, even. But now, she understood that this peaceful appearance was deceiving. "Keep monitoring," she ordered her crew. "I want to know everything about them." As the stellar messenger continued its silent watch, Earth's people went about their lives, unaware they were being studied, unaware that their rapid progress had, for the first time in history, made the mighty Galactic Council pause in uncertainty. In her private thoughts, Commander Jai-1 wondered if the Council's standard approach would work with humans. Something told her that this first contact would be very different from all the others. Senior evaluator Ta-Hyun had studied over 500 alien civilizations in his long career. His reports always followed the same pattern: document their technology, assess their military strength, and recommend how to bring them under Council control. But as he read Commander Jai-1's data about Earth, he knew this report would be different. He sat in his private office in the Council's assessment center. The walls were lined with holographic displays showing information about Earth. Each new piece of data made him more concerned. "Display human military development timeline," he commanded his computer. The largest screen filled with images and text. He watched as humans went from fighting with simple weapons to creating nuclear bombs in less than 200 years. His assistant, Young Me, entered the office with more data files. "Sir, the analysis of their current military capabilities is complete." Ta-Hyun opened the files. The humans had developed multiple ways to fight in every possible environment: land, sea, air, and even the beginnings of space warfare. Most species specialized in one or two types of combat. Humans had mastered them all. "Show me their response to threats," he ordered the computer. The screen displayed various human conflicts. When attacked, Humans didn't just fight back. They adapted, improved their weapons, and created new strategies. They learned from every battle. "Young me," he said quietly, "in all our records, have we ever seen a species that improved their warfare capabilities this quickly?" "No, sir," she replied. "The closest example took 5 times longer to reach this level." Tai Hyun began writing his report to the council. His hands moved slowly over the keyboard as he chose his words carefully. Species Assessment Report. Humans. Classification. Extremely high risk. Humans display unprecedented rates of technological advancement. Their military evolution suggests a species that has turned warfare into both an art and a science. They possess several unique characteristics that demand special attention. First, their ability to adapt. Humans can survive in almost any environment and quickly adjust their tactics based on new situations. Second, their innovation in warfare. They have developed weapons and strategies that our military experts have never considered. Their combat techniques are unpredictable and highly effective. Third, and most concerning, their response to external threats. Historical data suggests that humans unite quickly when faced with common enemies. Any attempt to subdue them by force would likely result in a unified global response. Tai Hyun paused in his writing. The next part of his report would shock the council, but it had to be said. He continued typing. Recommendation. The standard approach of forceful integration into the council must not be attempted with humans. Their potential military response could exceed our current defensive capabilities. Alternative diplomatic approaches should be considered. He sent the report to High Counselor Sung Min's office. Then he walked to his window, looking out at the artificial rings that circled the council's capital planet. For the first time in his career, he had recommended against using force on a primitive species. In the council chamber, High Counselor Sung Min read the report with growing concern. Admiral Yunho, who had also received a copy, was already calling for an emergency meeting. The council had ruled the galaxy through superior power for thousands of years. But now they face something new. A young species that might be stronger than they realized. Their decision about how to handle humanity would change the future of the galaxy forever. Tai Hyun knew the military leaders would not like his report, but as he watched the sun set over the capital city, he hoped they would listen. Because if they didn't, he feared the consequences would be severe, not for Earth, but for the Council itself. Admiral Yunho stood before the Galactic Council, his military uniform pristine as always. His voice filled the grand chamber as he addressed the gathered leaders. "We cannot show weakness," he declared. "These humans must learn their place in the galaxy. I propose an immediate show of force against their Mars colony. This will demonstrate our power without directly threatening their homeworld." Counselor Min Seo rose from her seat. Her silver robes caught the light as she moved. "Have you read Senior Evaluator Tai Hyun's report? The humans are not like other species. They will not respond well to threats." High Counselor Sung Min watched the debate from his position at the head of the table. The other council members were divided. Some supported Admiral Yunho's aggressive approach. Others agreed with Min Seo's caution. "The Admiral is correct about one thing," Sung Min finally said. "We must act. But we should be careful in our approach." Admiral Yunho seized this moment. "Then let me proceed with a limited operation. My fleet will destroy their Mars base, quick and clean. They will understand our power and submit, just like all the others." Despite Min Seo's further protests, the council voted. The majority supported the Admiral's plan. They had grown too comfortable with their power, too certain of their superiority. 3 days later, Admiral Yunho's fleet approached Mars. 5 massive warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the red planet. The human colony below was small, only 2,000 people in sealed habitats. "Begin the operation," Yunho commanded from his flagship. The first shots from his ships destroyed the colony's communication array. The humans would not be able to call for help. The Admiral smiled, pleased with the precision of the attack. But his smile faded when his sensor officer shouted in alarm. "Admiral, multiple ships approaching at high speed from Earth." Yun-Ho rushed to the display screen. "Impossible. Earth should not have detected their arrival so quickly. They should not have ships fast enough to reach Mars in such a short time." But the sensors did not lie. 20 Earth ships were approaching rapidly. They were smaller than the Council vessels, but moved with incredible speed and agility. "They're using some kind of new propulsion technology," his science officer reported, fear in his voice. "We've never seen anything like it." Before Admiral Yun-Ho could give new orders, the Earth ships attacked. They did not fight like primitive spacecraft should. Their tactics were complex, coordinated, and devastating. 2 of his warships exploded in the first minute of battle. The humans had somehow found weaknesses in their shields that no one had discovered in 1,000 years. "Retreat," Yun-Ho ordered, his face pale with shock. "Return to faster-than-light speed immediately." His remaining ships fled, leaving behind 2,000 very much alive human colonists and a completely changed balance of power in the galaxy. In the council chamber, High Counselor Sung Min received the battle report with a heavy heart. They had made a terrible mistake. Instead of intimidating humanity, they had provoked them. And now they had learned that humans were far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Counselor Min Seo's voice was quiet but firm as she addressed the stunned council members. "The humans will not forget this attack. We must prepare for their response, and I fear it will be unlike anything we have ever faced before." The council's error was complete. They had assumed humanity would behave like other species. They had been wrong. Now they would face the consequences of underestimating the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. Earth Defense Commander Han Jae stood in the Global Military Command Center beneath Mount Fuji. Massive screens covered the walls, showing the positions of both human and council ships across the solar system. After the attack on Mars, Earth had united its military forces under a single command for the first time in history. "Status report," Han Jae ordered, his voice calm despite the gravity of the situation. His second-in-command, Captain Aira, stepped forward with a data tablet. "Our engineers have successfully reverse-engineered the shield technology from the destroyed council ships. We have already upgraded 30% of our fleet." Han Jae nodded with satisfaction. In just 2 weeks, humanity had accomplished what took other species decades. The Council's attack had given them access to advanced alien technology, and human engineers had immediately found ways to improve it. "The Council underestimated us," Han Jae said, studying the tactical displays. "They thought we would respond like other species they had conquered. They were wrong." On the main screen, hundreds of dots represented Earth's rapidly growing space fleet. Factories around the world worked continuously, building ships with the new technologies. Scientists and engineers from every nation collaborated, sharing discoveries and improvements instantly through the global network. "Commander," a young officer called out, "long-range sensors detect a large council fleet approaching the solar system. At least 50 warships." Han Jae smiled. This was what they had been waiting for. The Council was responding exactly as human military strategists had predicted. They were coming in force, expecting to find a frightened, divided planet. "Initiate Operation Phoenix," Han Jae commanded. Across the solar system, human ships that had been hiding behind planets and asteroids powered up their engines. The Council fleet would face not just ships from Earth, but vessels that had been strategically positioned throughout the entire solar system. "Send the message to all ships," Han Jae ordered. "Execute the swarm protocol." The human fleet moved in ways that defied traditional space combat doctrine. Instead of meeting the Council ships in a direct battle, they broke into smaller groups, using complex maneuvers that confused the enemy's targeting systems. In the Council flagship, Admiral Yun-Ho watched in horror as his carefully planned assault fell apart. Human ships appeared from unexpected directions, using weapons and tactics that had never been seen before. "How are they moving so fast?" he demanded. Their technology was primitive just months ago. But he knew the answer. Humans had not just copied Council technology. They had improved it. Their ships were smaller but faster, their weapons less powerful but more precise. They had turned their understanding of warfare on Earth into a completely new way of fighting in space. Back in the Earth Command Center, Han Jay watched as the Council fleet broke formation. Their rigid military doctrine had no answer for humanity's adaptive tactics. One by one, the mighty Council warships were disabled or destroyed. "Send the final message to the Council," Han Jay ordered. Captain Era transmitted the carefully prepared statement. "Your attack on Mars showed us that we are not alone in the galaxy. It also showed us that we must be ready to defend ourselves. This victory demonstrates that we are capable of doing so. We are willing to discuss peace, but it must be as equals." The remaining Council ships retreated in disorder. In a single battle, humanity had proven itself to be not just equal to the Council's military might, but superior to it. Han Jia looked at the victory displayed on the screens before him. "This is just the beginning," he said quietly. "The galaxy is about to change forever." Chief Researcher Do Hyun worked late into the night in his laboratory on the Council's capital world. After the human victory over the Council fleet, he had been assigned to study everything about Earth's history. The walls of his lab were covered with data about human DNA, evolution, and technology. Something about the humans had been bothering him. Their rapid advancement was not natural. Their ability to adapt and improve so quickly did not follow any known pattern of evolution. There had to be a reason. Do Hyun's assistant, Mi Ray, entered the laboratory with new genetic analysis results. "Sir, you need to see this immediately," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. Do Hyun studied the data on her screen. His eyes widened. He checked the results 3 times to be certain. "This cannot be possible," he whispered. But the evidence was clear. He immediately requested an emergency meeting with the High Council. 2 hours later, he stood before them in the Great Chamber. Even Admiral Yunho was present, though he looked uncomfortable after his defeat by the human fleet. "Honorable Council members," Du Hyun began, "I have discovered why humans are different from all other species we have encountered. They are the descendants of the precursors." The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Everyone knew about the precursors, the ancient race that had seeded the galaxy with life billions of years ago. They had vanished long before any current species evolved. "Explain," High Counselor Sung Min commanded, his voice cutting through the noise. Do Hyun activated the chamber's holographic system. Images of DNA structures filled the air above them. The precursors left their genetic markers in all the species they created. But Earth was different. It was their experimental world, where they tested different approaches to evolution. He showed more images, human brain scans, muscle structures, cellular patterns. The humans are not just another species they created. They are the final version of what the precursors were trying to achieve. A species that could adapt quickly, think creatively, and advance rapidly. But something happened to the precursors before they could finish their work, May Ray added, stepping forward with more data. They vanished, leaving the humans to develop on their own. Earth's harsh conditions and constant challenges forced them to evolve even faster than the precursors had planned. The council members listened in stunned silence as Do Hyun explained further. The humans' incredible rate of progress, their unique way of thinking, their remarkable adaptability. It all made sense now. They were not just another primitive species. They were the ultimate creation of the most advanced civilization the galaxy had ever known. "There is more," Do Hyun said. "The humans have already begun to surpass what the precursors had planned. Their combination of creativity, determination, and adaptability has created something entirely new. They are not just carrying on the precursors' legacy. They are advancing it." High Counselor Sung Min sat quietly for a long moment after Do Hyun finished speaking. The implications were enormous. The council had not just attacked a primitive species, they had attacked the inheritors of the precursors' legacy. "We must change our approach entirely," Some men finally said, "The humans are not meant to be conquered. They are meant to lead the galaxy into a new age, just as the precursors intended." As the council members discussed this revelation, Du-hyun looked at his data one last time. He knew that the galaxy would never be the same. The time of the council's absolute rule was ending. The age of humanity was about to begin. 3 months after the revelation about humanity's precursor origins, the Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council looked very different. Human delegates sat among the council members, their presence marking the beginning of a new era in galactic history. Diplomat Soo-jin stood at the central podium beside High Counselor Sung-min. She wore a formal Earth uniform rather than the traditional council robes, symbolizing the changes taking place in galactic governance. The treaty between Earth and the Galactic Council marks the beginning of a new age. Soo-jin announced to the assembled representatives from 1,000 worlds, "We are not here to replace the Council, but to help transform it into something greater." Sung-min stepped forward. "For too long, the Council ruled through power alone. We'd forgot the importance of growth, innovation, and cooperation. Humanity has reminded us of these vital truths." The changes were already visible throughout Council space. Human scientists worked alongside Council researchers, sharing new ways of solving old problems. Earth's engineers had improved Council technology in ways no one had thought possible. Admiral Yunho, who had once led the attack on Mars, now worked closely with Commander Han-jae to create a new joint defense force. The human approach to strategy and adaptation had transformed military doctrine throughout the galaxy. "Our differences make us stronger," Soo-jin continued. "Earth's history taught us that diversity leads to innovation. Competition, when properly channeled, drives progress. These principles will guide our new galactic civilization." In the audience, Chief Researcher Du-hyun sat next to his human colleague, Dr. Sarah Chen. They had established the new Precursor Studies Institute, dedicated to understanding humanity's unique heritage and its implications for the future. The precursors did not intend for humanity to rule the galaxy, Soo-jin explained. They intended for us to help it grow, to bring new ideas, new approaches, and new hope to all species. High Counselor Sung-min raised his hands. "Let it be recorded that from this day forward, the Galactic Council becomes the Galactic Alliance. All member species will have an equal voice in shaping our future." The assembly hall erupted in applause. Representatives from worlds that had once feared the Council's power now saw hope for real partnership and progress. Later that evening, Soo-jin stood with Sung-min on the observation deck of the Alliance's new headquarters. Below them, the capital city sparkled with lights. Ships from Earth and 100 other worlds moved through the sky above. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when you first discovered Earth?" Soo-jin asked. Sung-min shook his head. "We thought we were the apex of galactic civilization. We were wrong. True civilization is not about power or control. It is about growth, adaptation, and working together. Humanity taught us that." A group of young aliens passed by, talking excitedly about studying at the new Earth Council Exchange Academy. Everywhere, the energy of change and progress filled the air. The precursors would be proud, Soo-jin said softly. Their experiments succeeded better than they could have imagined. Humanity did not just survive and grow. We helped the entire galaxy do the same. As the sun set on the capital world, the light reflected off ships of all shapes and sizes in the sky above. Each one represented a different species, a different way of thinking, a different contribution to their shared future. The galaxy had entered a new age, and it was better than anyone had imagined possible.